What I want to do with this video is help simplify everything that surrounds macros and counting your calories. Okay, I want to make this as simple as possible for you guys so you can cut through all the noise out there. There's a lot of it, and you can actually get started executing this because it's really not that hard. Anybody can do this, and it's going to be one of the things that you do that's going to be the most beneficial thing to you with whatever goal you are trying to seek, whether you're trying to gain muscle, you're trying to recomp, or you're trying to lose weight. Counting macros, counting your calories is one of the best things you can do. All right, so let's get into it. You ever heard the saying, gains are made in the kitchen, not in the gym? Well, that's not like entirely true, okay? And let me tell you why. Gains are made in the kitchen, not in the gym, does have some weight behind it, all right? What we're really trying to say there when you hear that, for most of people that say that to you anyway, is that the better your nutrition is, the more optimized your body is going to be to get the gains that you are seeking, whether it be muscle building, losing fat, increasing your cardio. It really doesn't matter. If you can dial down your nutrition, you're going to be in a much better place in order to do the things that you're trying to do. And you'll see a lot of information out there on this topic. You know, a lot of it's really overdone, in my opinion, or it's littered with, scientific information that's a lot of times factual, but it's not necessarily going to be beneficial to the normal person. If you're a normal person, I assume you probably are. I think most of us out there in the world are considered quote unquote normal. I consider myself a normal person. Then dialing down your nutrition doesn't need to be, and it shouldn't be, such a difficult task, especially with how many options there are out there. And you don't want to get into this weird dieting mode where you're doing more harm than good, especially for your mentality. You don't want to make things harder than they need to be, right? But these things that I'm about to lay out for you, these are the most doable things that the normal person can do, and they're really going to have the biggest impact overall with whatever your fitness journey is. Now, over the years, and I'm talking like 15, 20 years myself of coaching, of gaining education in nutrition, and experimenting with a lot of different, I almost want to call it fad diets out there, just to see how it worked for me. The one thing that without a doubt is going to work for you is counting your macros and your calories. If you can dial down your macros and actually stick to it for a decent amount of time, like 30 days or more, you're going to notice a huge difference in your gains profile, whatever gains means to you. And that's because you're giving the body exactly the right ratio of protein, carbohydrates, and fats that it needs to perform optimally, to recover optimally, and to grow or lose size optimally. And as far as dialing down your calories goes, that's going to come hand in hand. That's going to coincide with you dialing down your macros, because each macro contains a certain amount of calories. For proteins and carbohydrates, it's 4 calories per 1 gram of each. And surprise, surprise, the one with the most calories is fats. Every gram of fat equals 9 calories. But that doesn't mean you just avoid fats. It just gives you an idea of how much you shouldn't be overdoing it. Your body still definitely needs fats. Fats are very important for fitness. They're really important for recovery. They help to regulate your hormones appropriately, and they also help you to keep a good mindset. They help you stay in a good mood. Carbs are also very important. Contrary to modern beliefs and a lot of people out there that are just trying to get you to buy shit, carbs are one of the most important, if not the most important macro that you should really be paying attention to, especially if you're very performance oriented, because carbs are your main energy source. If you're not getting enough energy, you're not going to be able to lift as heavy in the gym. You're not going to be able to run those extra miles you need to run out there at full capacity. And you're just not going to have the energy throughout the day to keep on with whatever program you're running and whatever goal you're trying to get after. You're just not going to have enough energy if you don't have enough carbs. And protein, of course, we need to have our protein. Everything on the market is so protein oriented nowadays. It's crazy. You know, you definitely need protein for recovery, for growing muscles, and for maintaining the muscle mass that you already have if you're trying to lean down. Protein is going to be very important for that. And another added benefit of protein is that protein will keep you satiated for longer. It'll help you feel fuller for longer. And that's really because it's harder for your body to break down protein. And with that, it actually makes your body use more energy to break down the protein. So you're actually burning more calories even while you're just hanging out during the day, if you're on a high protein diet. But that doesn't mean you need to go crazy with the protein. But if you're getting enough and maybe a little bit more because you're working hard towards your goals, you get that added benefit. Some quick guidelines when it comes to macros and calories that you can go by. For protein, if you're trying to gain muscle or if you're trying to maintain the muscle you have, if that's like your main goal, you want to be taking at least 1 gram of protein per pound of your current body weight. If you're not trying to lose weight, you're just trying to recomp, or your goal body weight, whatever you're trying to do. If you're trying to go up or you're trying to go down. You never want to overdo protein at any given time. Really, you don't want to take more than like 60 grams of protein in any given meal or a protein shake, because it will do something for you, but it's just too much and it's going to make you feel weird. So you want to try to spread it out throughout the day as evenly as you can. It's also not such a big deal if you miss your protein shake after a workout every now and then, especially if you just have that protein in your system already because you've been consistent. Body's already got what it needs. It's okay to miss a protein shake every now and then. It ain't gonna kill you, all right? So don't worry about that so much. For carbs, one of the biggest takeaways is if you're out there putting in a lot of work, expending a lot of energy, burning a lot of calories like I am right now, you want to load up with carbs before you go out and do that so that your body has something to pull from. If you don't do that, then you're running the risk of your body burning too much fats, which isn't always a bad thing, but sometimes it can be, or you're going to end up wasting muscle. Your body's going to, if you do it for the long term, your body's going to start pulling reserves from your muscles, and you're going to be burning off your muscles because you're not supplying enough energy from carbs to your body. So don't be scared of carbs. You really can't stress that enough. They're your best friend a lot of times. Fats are another one you kind of want to spread out throughout the day. You don't want to have a meal that's super heavy in fats because that's just going to make you lethargic. It's going to make you tired, and it's going to kind of screw up your body's regulatory process because it's just took in so many calories and so many fats it's got to break down. And really the best time to be taking in fats when you're looking at recovery is before you go to sleep, like an hour or two before you go to sleep. And that doesn't mean you overdo it. Maybe about 10 grams, maybe 15, depending on how many fats you took in during the day. But that's really the best time because that's when your body is already sleeping and the majority of your recovery happens during sleep. And on that note, you want to try to avoid carbs before you go to sleep. You can have it with dinner as long as you don't go to sleep like an hour or two after your dinner, but that's only because if you take in too many carbs, then your blood sugar level is going to spike and you're just not going to get very good sleep because of that. So try to avoid the carbs at night. Not a huge big deal, especially if it isn't something that you notice affects you, but something to keep in mind. Now for overall calories, right? The macros are going to add up to an overall calorie count throughout the day. For your average person, you might know this already, the average calorie intake per day is about 2,000 calories. Now that's considering a person that's like not very active, they're just sort of existing, okay? You gotta keep that in mind. And it's also for like the average build, just the average person in general. There's a lot of fluctuation there, but that's a good average baseline. So knowing that, now we gotta consider, okay, well, I'm trying to gain muscle. Well, in order to do that, we have to take in more calories than it takes just to exist, right? Because the muscle's not going to just show up from anywhere. You got to give it what it needs in order to grow. So if you're somebody who's in the gym a lot, that's your main goal, you probably want to be taking in about 500 calories extra per day. And if you're trying to lose weight, then obviously you need to reduce that calorie count. And if you're just not working out or anything, that means less than 2,000 calories. If you're working out, we'll get to that. And I'll explain to you how that works. Now we know that 1 pound of mass equals roughly 3,000 calories. So if you're trying to gain a pound of muscle, then that means you need to stack on 3,000 extra calories for your body to consume to be able to grow. And if you're trying to lose, then you got to lose those 3,000 calories in order to decrease your mass. Now, again, doing this years and years for myself and coaching clients and figuring out through experience what works and what doesn't, I would say that the best rule of thumb for either direction is either a 500 calorie surplus or a 500 calorie deficit, depending on whatever you're trying to do per day. If you're doing more than that, if you're trying to gain, you're definitely going to be stacking on some extra fat. Maybe you're trying to be aggressive and that doesn't bother you too much. You're just going to bulk up, right? And you're worried about shedding off that extra fat later. You can bump that up to like 750. I obviously wouldn't necessarily recommend that, but hey, it's up to you. 500 is the magic number. Same thing goes if you're trying to lose weight, cut it by 500 calories. Now, all that means is that should give you about a week to either gain a pound or lose a pound, because that's how it adds up. So if you're taking in 2,500 calories and you're normally a 2,000 calorie person, you'll gain an extra pound in the week. And if you're decreasing it by 500 calories, you will lose a pound in the week. It's just math. That's how this works. Now, everybody's out there training differently. They have different goals. They have different builds, right? They have a whole bunch of different factors that are going to definitely change that average 2,000 calorie number. So what you need to do is find yourself a macro calculator, a good one, and punch in all the information for you. There's a lot of free ones out there. I actually have one at grittysoldier.com. Very good one. Go check that out. If you need one, I'll drop a link in the description for you. It's totally free. Use that macro calculator. Punch in all the information that's pertinent to you. Make sure you're being honest with yourself, and it will spit out the exact number of calories you should be aiming to achieve every day. And it will also give you your optimal macro breakdown. There's a lot of apps out there. Some of them are free and really good that'll help you to track those macros day by day, help you keep track of them with the food that you're eating, tell you how many macros and calories are in each piece of food that you're eating, and it'll help you stay on track with your goals. Don't stress if you're like a few macros off with one macro or the other per day. It's not that big a deal. Really, the most important thing is that you're getting that calorie count right. That's the most important thing, but you can make it even better if you dial down your macros. That would be the optimal thing to do. You may have also heard about the method called if it fits in your macros. That just means with that, it's like you can eat whatever you want as long as the macros are right. And that's just not necessarily the best way to go. Really, because if you just scarf down a whole bunch of not very nutritious foods all the time, it's really just not gonna do anything good for you if you're just scarfing down a whole bunch of crap. So try to eat good. Try to get a lot of nutrients, nutrient-dense foods, whole foods. Limit the processed foods. Doesn't mean you gotta cut them out completely, but don't like live by them. You know what I mean? I'd be completely lying to you guys if I say that I eat, really good all the time. I definitely don't. I definitely cheat plenty. I enjoy hamburger here and there. I'm probably gonna get a donut after this run because I'm running 10 miles. But again, I need to replace those calories for myself so that I can recover properly and get after it again tomorrow. So I know what I'm doing. I've been doing this. After you've tracked your macros like this for at least a month, you're gonna start learning very well what foods you actually need throughout the day, which ones you like, which ones are working for you. And eventually you won't have to like religiously track macros anymore. You'll be able to just consciously know what the right choice is. So it's not like you got to do this for the rest of your life if you want to be able to perform and recover and build optimally. But I definitely advise you give it a shot for at least a month, because I'm telling you, if you do it and you do it right, it's going to make a huge difference. I promise. It really will. So hopefully I simplified that whole thing enough for you. Don't worry about all the extra noise out there when it comes to macros and calories and when and where to eat and all those things. All those things, I mean, they might have an impact, but every single one of those details, it's minimal. It won't make much of a difference for you. So don't stress about it. Do your best with counting your macros. Do your best with reaching your caloric goals, and you will see a difference. If you have any questions on this or I wasn't clear enough for you on anything, please, by all means, drop it in the comments. I make a point to read all the comments, and I'll do my very, very best to get back to you. Most importantly, I hope this video was useful to you, but it's going to take more than just listening to this. You actually have to go out there and execute it. You actually have to go out there and do this, all right? That's how you're going to see it. That's how you're going to see the gains. If you found any value at all, please do me a favor, like and subscribe to this video. It really does help these kinds of videos get out there to the right people that need this sort of information. So like and subscribe right now, please, and thank you. But for now, I gotta get back to focusing on my run. I still got like 5 more miles to do. So besides that, I've got nothing else for you, and I'll see you on the next one.